Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Katarina. Today I'm going to be doing the Project Panner tag that was created by Sarah Rose. I have been following Sarah for years. I started to watch her even before I started project panning because Sarah is an amazing cruelty-free content creator. She does a lot of really interesting and really helpful videos about cruelty-free makeup and beauty products, especially focusing on the more affordable side of cruelty-free, which I do appreciate a lot. And she also does project panning, of course, because she created this tag, and she also does some of those interesting and super fun roulette series where she's rotating through her collection, and I always love to watch those videos. So she created this tag that is about project panning, and this tag has 10 questions. I have seen so many people to do this tag and I really love this. I do love project panning, so of course I wanted to do this myself. I just didn't really have chance to film this video earlier because in April I was doing my eyeshadow depotting and that took a lot of time, but here I am doing this tag, so let's just get into it. Question number 1. How long have you been project panning? I have been really project panning for 2 years. I started in spring 2018, but I tried to do my first project pan in 2017, but that was a fail, and I will explain it to you in the next question better. But I have been really project panning for 2 years, like non-stop, and my channel has also been mostly about project panning for the past 2 years. And the question number 2 is, what made you decide to start panning? What did you hope to get out of it? As I said, I tried to do my very first project pan in 2017. I tried to do the 17 products in 2017, and my goal with every single product that I pick was to use them up. And that project was a fail. In every way a project just can be a fail. I didn't do it for more than a couple of months, and I don't know, I feel I made the project really miserable for myself. I picked too many products. I think that was way too big project for someone who had never previously done project panning. And the biggest mistake that I made back then was that I picked too much products that I disliked, and that made me dislike project panning. So, for example, I had a bronzer in that project that was just not the right undertone to my skin, but I forced myself to use it. So I started to hate the bronzer and I started to hate project panning, as weird as it may sound right now when I am someone who project pans all the time. I don't even remember exactly why I started, but I guess I was overwhelmed by my collection because that time I kept buying a lot of new makeup all the time. It didn't feel good, so I gave up with my project and I didn't do any projects for a while. Until in February 2018 I saw a video from LS. So in her video Elle explained everything about project panning that you need to know, why to do it, how to do it, and everything you can imagine. And I found the video really interesting and I wanted to try project panning again. So I actually started a small project pan with few products and I actually liked it. My intention to do that project pan was just to get a positive experience about panning because my previous experience was so bad and I was still overwhelmed by my collection. I think that has been all the time the biggest reason why I have done project panning, because I had so much makeup that I really didn't know what to use, and then I started to notice some of my older makeup expiring and I was really sad about that. So I wanted to get use out of my makeup instead of letting it expire, but the biggest reason was that I wanted to downsize my collection. Question number 3 is, how do you like to structure your project pans? Short seasonal projects, year-long rolling projects, or something else? Well, I will say a couple of things to this. First of all, I like to have a mix of different projects. So I like to have some longer term projects and then some shorter term seasonal projects. But for the most part, I feel I am not the one who structures my project plans, because most of the projects that I do are project plan collabs that are created by someone else and I'm just going by the rules. But then I do some project pans my own, for example Pan That palette that was created by Ember F. I like to do it year long so that I can really get use out of the palette and hopefully get it out of my collection. But yeah, overall I do like a mix of different projects, but I will say that I can focus better on shorter term projects. I have noticed that if I have really long term projects other than Pan That palette, I have really hard time focusing on those. Question number 4. What are your favorite ways to track your progress? If I just can, I like to take pictures or somehow else visually track my progress. So mainly I want to take pictures, for example if I'm panning eyeshadows or something else that is an actual powder product. And then with products like lipsticks, pencils and stick products, I like to do progress lines on paper so that I can actually see how much the product went down. But then there are certain type of products that you just cannot really see progress visually, at least in a while after you have started panning it. For example, lip glosses and liquid lipsticks tend to be that kind of products. So those I like to wait. But I don't weight all of my products. I do love to hear other people's weights what comes to their products, but I don't have a scale that shows super accurately. It only shows by 1 gram, so it can take a while for a product to lose gram of its weight. So because of that I only tend to weight the products that don't really show progress otherwise. Question number 5. What products have been the easiest for you to pan? I would say that products that I use every single day but are not something that I want to change are always easy. Just a couple of example, foundation could be this kind of product, brow pencil could be this kind of product, and even bronzer could be this kind of product. I actually have had quite easy time with bronzers if it is just the right undertone to my skin. A lot of these categories I have really been able to downsize by project panning, so I typically don't really pan those anymore. For example, foundations, I only have a couple of options. In my collection I have a more natural one, and then I have a full coverage one that I tend to wear when I'm filming. Other days I tend to wear the more natural one. So because I only have those 2 foundations, I'm anyways going to go through them before they expire. I really don't pan them anymore, but they would be pretty easy products for me to pan. I will also say eyeshadows to this question. I don't say it's always easy, but I think I am pretty good at panning eyeshadows and it's something I really do enjoy. I know it's not for everyone, but I really do love panning eyeshadows. If it is just like colors that I like. Sometimes I have tried to pan some more colorful shades and I have really struggled, but as long as the palette is like everyday appropriate, I can work with it. I don't mind like a little challenge. For example, right now I'm panning the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance. Let me actually grab it. It is over here on top of my vanity so that I reach for it, and I'm wearing shades from this palette today. So I have made quite good progress on it, but it is a challenge. There are some colors in here that are really colorful and bold. So I need to step out of my comfort zone a little bit, but then because of the most of the palette is pretty neutral, it has been a really nice palette to pan. But I wouldn't pan anything too crazy, but as long as the shades are something that I can actually wear on my daily basis, then I think panning eyeshadows is quite easy. And then question number 6, what products have been the hardest for you to pan? I think you can guess this, at least if you have watched my videos, but blushes for sure. Almost every single time when I have started to pan a blush, I have started to hate the blush. I tried to do a pan at face palette with a palette that had 4 blushes in it, and I hated it so much after panning it for a while. So that is really difficult to me. Blush is one of those products that I do not want to wear the same color every single day. Like if bronzer, I can wear the same thing every single day. Blush is something that I want to change depending what kind of look I'm wearing that day. So if I'm wearing a cool toned look, I usually want a cooler toned blush. If I'm wearing a warm toned look, I want a warmer toned blush. Or then typically I do wear pretty neutral blushes no matter the look that I'm wearing, but it's just one of those things that I get super bored of, and then it's one of those things that takes forever to hit pan on. Another product that has been for me quite difficult is a liquid lipstick, and that's for a couple of reasons. First of all, I do tend to get bored of a lip product if I pan it. I still do pan lip products once in a while, just because those go off a little bit quicker than eyeshadows or other powder products, but they are something that I get bored of if I wear it every single day. I like to change my lip color depending on what kind of eyeshadow look I'm wearing. But the reason why liquid lipstick has been the hardest lip product category for me to pan is the fact that they are often matte finish. If it is something else than matte, then I'm having easier time with them. For example, I am at the moment panning one of the Too Faced melted lipsticks, and those are not matte finish even though they are liquid lipsticks. So it's going quite good with that one. But when we are talking about matte finish liquid lipsticks, they do wear pretty well. You don't need to reapply them often, and then they don't really layer good at all of the times. So I feel in order to reapply, I would need to take off the entire lipstick to make a new layer, because otherwise it will be like really crumbly and ugly looking. So if that's the case, I'm just usually going to take off the lipstick and put on like lip gloss instead. So I would say because of that, liquid lipsticks are quite difficult, and also they are something that so progress really slowly. Question number 7. Are there any types of products that you rarely or never put in a project pan? Well, blush, for the reasons I mentioned earlier. I start to hate a blush when I start panning it. If it is a neutral blush, I can get away with it, but it's going to be in a project for a really long time. But colorful blushes, for example, I don't even put into projects anymore, because I know I will declutter the blush before I have even hit pan, because I start hating it that much. But also, as I mentioned earlier, I don't typically pan products where I only have like a couple of options in my collection, like foundations. Those I don't really see any point of putting into project, because if I only have a couple of options, I'm going to use them up before they expire. However, I do have one foundation that is going to be a couple of years old this becoming summer, and it is in such a deep shade that I really cannot wear it more than a couple of months during 1 year, and then last year I was focused on panning some of my even older foundations. So that foundation is something I'm going to put into project very soon. So in that case I could put a foundation into project if it is something that I have had for a longer time. But for the most part, categories like foundations are something that my collection is so curated that I don't feel a need to put these products into projects. And same goes to other complexion products and brow products and eyeliners, mascaras, stuff like that. Unless there's something that I just will never use, I don't really see a point to put the product into project pan if I use it anyways. Question number 8. Do you pan skincare or body care or strictly makeup? I do pan mainly makeup and then nail polishes, of course, But sometimes, but it's quite rare, I may put a skincare product into project pan if it is just fitting to the theme. For example, in the current round of Roulette Pan collab I have put a couple of skincare products just because I didn't want to make the project too challenging for myself. But for the most part I'm not panning skincare products just because I do have quite simple skincare routine. And I do have my basic products that I use, then I do have some serums and stuff, but I do not have like huge stash of skincare and I really don't have backups. That's why I don't typically pan skincare. What comes to body care, that is like the most boring category in my entire beauty routine for me. That's why I don't even really talk about that on my channel, because I just find it so boring to talk about shower gels or body lotions or shaving creams. I don't talk about body care even in my empties videos because I just find it's boring, and also for me it doesn't even feel like beauty that much. It just feels for me like taking care of my basic hygiene, and it's not something that I really enjoy that much. I just do it because, you know, I want to stay clean, so yeah, it's really boring category to me. Question number 9. What is your number 1 advice for a successful project pan? I think this is surprisingly difficult question to answer because we are all different and what works for me won't necessarily work for you and vice versa. And I have seen other people giving such great advice in their videos, so I really don't know. I think I will just say that remember that it's only makeup and it's only project panning and it's really not that serious. So for example, if you really hate a product and you don't want to be panning it, then don't pan it. Like, it's not the end of the world. Or if you find that project panning is starting to be stressful, take a break. Makeup should be fun. Actually, Rose from A Girl Boss on a Budget said this too in her video. She recommended not to hate pan, and I do agree with that. Although I know hate panning works for some people, but for me it does not work, as I mentioned earlier. But yeah, she also said that project panning should be fun, like it is a hobby. And yeah, if it doesn't feel fun and good, then what's the point really? At least for me, using up a makeup product is not worth it if it makes me hate my makeup look and I feel like uncomfortable because I'm wearing something that I don't want to be wearing. Then the last question is question number 10, and this is probably my favorite question. Has panning affected your makeup purchasing habits? If so, how? Definitely. When I started, in the beginning I was still bringing in a lot of new makeup and I started to feel really bad about it because I was really focused on using up some of my older products, and what happened then was that I bought these new products that I didn't use at all. And for me that doesn't make any sense to purchase products and then not to use them in a couple of years. I think that's like a waste of money basically. So I noticed that and I wanted to do a no-buy. So 2019 was my beauty replacements only no-buy year. And because of my no-buy year and because of project panning both, my shopping habits have changed a lot. With certain categories I really want to have a minimal makeup collection, like with foundations. As I said, I only want to have a couple of options at once. One full coverage one for filming days and one natural one for other days. So I don't even have any urge to buy more than those. And also, when I was panning some of my older foundations last year for example, I was a bit annoyed that I couldn't use my favorite foundation every day. So now, instead of having a huge hoard of foundations, I'm only buying my favorite ones and I'm only using my favorite ones. And that's definitely thanks to project panning. And then there are certain categories that I don't necessarily want to keep minimal, but I want to keep curated, and because of that I try to limit my purchases. Eyeshadows is category that I'm still doing a no-buy with. I'm doing a 3-year-long eyeshadow no-buy just because I do have so much that I'm never able to use up what I have even now. So I really want to show love to my current collection before bringing in anything new. But then with lip products, for example, I do have at the moment a rule that I can purchase one in every couple of months. That way I'm not letting my collection grow all of a sudden, because I know that would still happen because I'm someone who does love makeup, and you know, it's so easy to just go and pick a couple of lipsticks and think that it's not that big of a deal. But if it happens too often, then all of a sudden I notice that I have way too many lipsticks and that I can never go through them. So because of that I like to limit my purchases. I know some people don't need to limit their purchases, and I don't need to do it with all of the products, because with certain products I don't want to have more than those couple of options. But then there are those certain categories that I feel limiting my purchases works best, because that way I can buy something like a lipstick. I can buy a lipstick that I want the most right now, and then I need to wait a couple of months that I can get a new one. So it really works for me, at least for now. So yeah, I do want to keep my collection manageable, and thanks to that goes to project panning, because by panning I started to notice that when I am really focused on panning certain things and I never use anything else from my collection, the other products are going to waste, so I don't want that to happen anymore. But yeah, that was everything for today and everything for this tag. It was really fun to film this. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have done this tag, let me know so I will come to check out your video. I think these questions are super interesting and we are all different, so I really love to watch others' videos too. Thanks for watching and see you in my next video. Bye bye.